I'm Dayna J, Francois, and you're listening to Stirring the Plot. Whether you're gay, hot, or doing it for the plot, this is the podcast for you. We're here and we're queer. We're gay and we slay. And I've been away, but like a queer Taylor Swift track, I've returned with more feelings than I know what to do with. It's 2025 and here we are. A new year, a new chapter, and hopefully fewer women with commitment issues. That was so embarrassing. But actually, please, I'm begging. All right, it's a brand new start. So for those of you who are just now tuning in, let me first welcome you to the podcast. This is your safe space for all things gay, hot, and absolutely unnecessary for your emotional stability. I'm your host, Dayna. Think of me as the sapphic Carrie Bradshaw of your dreams, here to sip my overpriced latte or espresso martini, really just depends on the day, as I overshare about my life while we collectively unpack our emotional chaos. For those of you who have been listening, hi again. I missed you. I know. It's been a minute, but absence makes the heart grow fonder. Or at least that's what I tell myself when I ghost my situationships. So let's catch up. We've got a lot to talk about. Where I've been, my 2024 wrap, the ins and outs for 2025, and maybe even a little manifestation magic to set the tone for this year. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's do this. But quickly, before we dive into today's episode, I do want to address the elephant in the room. The next presidential term has officially begun, and let's call it what it is. A nightmare and bad drag. I wish that I could sit here and wrap this in a bow of faux optimism, but I'm not gonna insult you like that. And I'm not gonna insult me like that. I'm not gonna insult us like that. I'm fucking terrified, and I'm angry, and I'm heartbroken. I feel like the air has been stolen from the room, and we're all gasping for something to hold on to. I am so scared for our community's trans siblings who are being vilified at every turn. I am scared for women's rights, for queer rights, for immigrants, for all of us who seem to exist in the crosshairs of this administration's cruelty. It's like history spinning like a broken record, and the track that we're on, it's a fucking remix nobody asked for. And yet here we are. But if there is one thing that I know, it's this. Community will always be our lifeline. When the world feels like it's closing in, we have each other to hold on to. So if you're feeling any way like I'm feeling, angry, exhausted, but desperate for hope, please know that you're not alone. You have me, you have each other, and I have you, and we all have each other always. And we will get through this together, one rebellious, resilient step at a time. Okay, now let's start with the obvious. Yes, I've been MIA. Not in a bad way, more like the kind of MIA where you're drowning in schoolwork, you're navigating the holidays, and occasionally looking up to wonder, is this fucking adulthood? Yes, it is, and I fucking hate it here. Okay, first, school. I'm not gonna lie, it's been brutal. Finals had me rethinking every life choice that ever led me to this point. But I did survive. A few crash outs here and there, it's fine. I survived. And now, at least, I can confidently say that if I can write a 15-page paper on postmodernist theory, I can handle literally fucking anything. Literally anything. And then there were the holiday seasons. Holidays are a weird time for everybody. My grief fluctuates throughout the year, but it's I think it's the holidays that kind of cause grief to sit the heaviest in my chest. I think that just makes sense though for a lot of people. I think a lot of people can relate to that. So yeah, we had the holiday season, and it's a time of family and chaos and far too many comments on my weight loss, but not nearly enough alcohol to endure it. But at the end of the day, I loved being able to just spend some time with my family, my siblings, especially my niece and my nephews, getting to get some quality time with the people who mean the absolute most to me. It was so special, and I wouldn't trade it for, anything. And finally, life. It kind of just happened. Between reconnecting with old flames, dodging red flags like it's a fucking sport, and trying to maintain my sanity, I just needed a breather. But here's the thing. I missed this. I mean, podcasting, it's like my safe space. It's where I get to be my most authentic, messy, overthinking self, and I am ready to dive back in headfirst. So let's talk about 2024. 2020 for the plot, if you will. 2024 was a year of lessons, losses, and a few too many late night realizations that I may or may not have shared in my notes app at 3 a.m. Spoiler alert, yes I did. All right, first, let's talk about the wins. I grew, really grew a lot, and I learned how to say no without explaining myself. I learned how to set boundaries that aren't just decorative, and to be fair, I did learn how to stop answering you up texts from people who only see me as a stop on their self-discovery road trip. You see, 2024 was the year I realized that I'm not a side quest, because I'm the main fucking plot. No, genuinely, guys, 2024 was a year of growth. I started writing a poetry collection, and it's a project that feels like I'm peeling back layers of myself I didn't even know existed. I also made some really, really incredible special friendships. 2024 was the year I healed my inner child, and I finally let the inner child, and I think the inner recovering pastor's daughter in me, heal herself with that religious shame and that comp het by existing in these just fully authentic queer spaces. I immersed myself in queer spaces all of 2024, and it just felt so healing. And the relationships that came out of it, I am so grateful for. Genesis, Alexa, Winter, they are incredible friendships that came into my life at exactly the right time. And honestly, let's not forget this podcast. Even if I did take a little hiatus, doing this podcast has been amazing. I was really bummed when I thought that I wasn't going to be able to do this anymore. Podcasting is something that I really love, and I had so much fun doing it before. But this podcast, in comparison to the last time around, just feels different. I feel more grown up. I feel more secure in myself. I feel more authentic. And I love not having to kind of water down myself or to cater to someone else's expectations of what they expect me to show up as. Here I can just be me, and I can stir the fucking plot, and I can hit you with my sapphic chaos or my deep introspective, tangents, and you take me as I am. And I'm so grateful for everyone who has given me this space to do that. And I'm grateful for all of my amazing, beautiful friends who have come on the podcast and shared a piece of their story. And I just can't wait to continue doing that. So, I don't know. I'm getting emotional and sappy, but every time that I sit down to record, I am just reminded of exactly why I started doing it in the first place. So, thank you. Now let's talk about the plot twist. I mean, where do I even begin? As you know, Taylor's version came back into my life, uninvited, like a sequel no one asked for. But what you don't know is that the ASU softball player also popped up again. And it's weird. I think reconnecting with someone from your past is it's like opening up a time capsule. You find some treasures, sure, but you also uncover things that remind you exactly why you buried it in the first place. And finally, the cringe. Yes, I'm talking about those moments that make you just want to crawl so far into a hole and just never, ever, ever, ever come out. Mortifying, so cringeworthy. The time I overanalyzed the text from Kitten Heels for 3 fucking days straight, I was crashing out in the group chat. Literally, they were telling me, Dayna, shut the fuck up. It's crazy. Or the whole, the time Trashgate. And yes, Trashgate. Guys, I want to tell you the story of Trashgate. But here's the thing. it is so fucking funny. It is so fucking hilarious for you. Like, it will be so entertaining for you. But here's the thing, it is mortifying for me. You know, whenever you say it's so hard to face yourself, that is so true. And what it is about Trashgate is that I have to face myself when I think about that and realize, like, oh my fucking God, who is she? Because I did not even recognize myself during that whole thing. And looking back on it, it's funny as hell, but it's also so mortifying. But like seeing the texts and just like reliving it, I'm like having war flashbacks actually right now thinking about it. Oh my God. So one day I will find a way to tell the story of Trashgate, but just know, like, it made me realize just how unhealed I actually was. And that's all I'm gonna say about Trashgate for now. Another cringy moment was when I convinced myself that emotional unavailability is just a cute personality trait. And I think we all do this, but guess what? Newsflash, it's fucking not. But at the end of the day, I survived it all. And I survived all of it. The good, the bad, the fucking awkward. And it all is just fuel for the plot at the end of the day. So when I talk about the cringe-worthy moments from 2024, what I like to do is I like to reframe them. It's like I've rewritten them into lessons. So I'm talking avoidant attachment habits. I'm talking self-sabotage. I'm talking the moments where I convinced myself that complicated equaled like exciting, if that makes sense. And it fucking doesn't. But like those cringe-worthy moments, those moments that you look back and you're like, oh my God, why was I acting like that? I have taken what resonated and I've left the rest, and I've rewritten that into lessons that I'm carrying forward into 2025. So something that you need to remember is that all of that makes you who you are. All of that happened made me who I am right now. 25, single but independent as fuck, who knows exactly what she wants and is completely over chasing people who can't meet me exactly where I am. All right, so now it's time for something I'm very, very excited about, and that is the ins and outs for 2025, because I want to set the vibe for the year. I feel like I have been working on this for quite a bit of time. I have been crafting this. I have been curating this. I'm a curator. And I think my ins and outs for 2025 list is top tier, if I do say so myself. I know I'm biased, but let's jump right into what's in for 2025. In gay, hot, and doing it for the plot energy, because chaos is a renewable resource. As you guys know, gay, hot, and doing it for the plot is my fucking mantra. So I want to invite you to carry that energy into 2025. And here's a little addendum that I'm adding right now. Chaotic sapphic monologues on the podcast, as I'm doing right now. It's raw, it's real, and it's just unhinged enough to keep you listening. In weekly sapphic debriefs with friends. If it's not juicy, we're gonna fucking make it juicy, because you know I love tea. You know I love gossip. You know I love myself a good debrief. I'm in the group chat, I'm debriefing. I see my sister, I'm debriefing. I meet someone, literally I meet someone for the first time and I'm like, guess what? Let's debrief. I need to know the lore. I want to break it down. I'm so nosy. I'm so invested in people's story, in their lore, in the tea, all of it. I want it all. So I think weekly sapphic debriefs with your friends is necessary for 2025. And that's it. And that's on period. In high femme revenge outfits. And yes, I'm talking about if you're going into a space and who happens to be there, your ex, your enemy, you know, your ex situationship, whatever. Because guess what? You're going to show up in your high femme revenge outfit because you're not just over them. You are also serving cunt, bitch. Period. Stand up. That's on period. In posting thirst traps that could double as art. That has been my goal. I started curating that in 2024 and I will continue that into 2025. Let's call it a talent. In calling people out with metaphors. We are poetically dragging them to absolute filth in 2025. Stand up. In nicknaming everyone in your life like it's an HBO series. Listen, I have been doing this shit since I was in fucking high school. You will not catch me calling someone, and this is like in a romantic context for the most part, but you will not catch me calling someone by their government name. Like, you're not gonna catch me doing that. I'm talking to my friend, she's telling me about girls that she's dated, call her Sam, and she's like, yeah, Sam did this or Sam did that, and I'm like, bitch, who the fuck are you talking about? But if she turns around and she says, you know, Bubbles or Blossom or fucking Duncan, I'm like, bitch, I know who the fuck you're talking about. I know all the lore and I'm ready to break it down for you play by play. But you're coming at me with their government name. You're saying Haley, you're saying Sam, you're saying Jennifer. I don't fucking know who you're talking about. So in for 2025, nicknaming everyone in your life like it's an HBO series, because Taylor's version and Kitten Heels is way more iconic than their government names. Full stop. In lesbian lighting, any room that has warm tones, and yes, string lights count. In turning every bad date into podcast content. I mean, the plot doesn't write itself. I've been living by this mantra for quite a bit of time, but I'm inviting you to bring that into 2025. In unapologetic romantic overthinking, because being emotionally layered is so sexy. In soft launches, romantic or professional, I think for 2025, we're keeping it low key until it's locked the fuck in. In women who communicate, if she knows what she wants and isn't afraid to say it, chef's fucking kiss. In therapy, but make it cute, because healing is hot. Healing is sexy. In queer joy, now more than ever, with the state of how things are in this world, this one is so vital. Queer joy. This year, I need us to all lean into the softness, lean into the love, lean into the laughter, lean into the community, lean into the queer joy. And finally, in main character energy, because you are the only one who can write your story. Now let's talk what's out for 2025. Out. Trying to downplay your magnetism. If they're overwhelmed, that's on them. Show up as your true authentic self, babe. Out. Ignoring red flags because they're hot. And I'm telling myself this more than anything, because as I'm saying this out loud, I'm literally having Taylor's version flashbacks. So take that at face value or whatever the fuck. Out. Letting religious guilt into the group chat. The pastor's daughter has left the fucking chat. Out. Compet flashbacks because we don't fucking know her. Out. Halfway vulnerability. 2025 is full scope emotions or nothing. Out. Spending emotional currency on someone with bad credit. I am going to say that one more time. I hope you're listening. Out. Spending emotional currency on someone with bad credit. And yeah, if you're listening, you know who you are. Out. Dimming your light for straight presenting spaces. We are unapologetically queer in every room. Out. Leaving stories untold. If it's not a podcast episode, if it's not a poem, if it's not a novel by now, then why the fuck not? Out. Playing therapist to your exes. They can Venmo us for that emotional labor. And that's on period. Out. Wasting a good outfit on bad company because the fit deserves better. Out. People pleasing at your own expense. To all my recovering people pleasers, please stand up. We are protecting our peace. It's peace over politeness in 2025. Out. Allowing maybe people to take up yes space. It's reciprocity or nothing, babe. Reciprocity or nothing. Out. The chase. Because I'm done running after people who can't meet me halfway. And I mean, if you're Kitten Heels, maybe I'll jog a little, but whatever. Out. Emotional dumping. Unless we've mutually agreed to vent, please keep your baggage in your own carry-on. Or whatever people say. Did I eat with that analogy? Let me know. Out. Overthinking. Easier said than done, I know, but we're trying. Out. Situationships that don't serve me. If you're not here for the long haul, please exit stage left. And finally, the biggest out of all, settling. In love, in life, in anything, because we deserve better. Now that we've wrapped 2024 and we're setting our ins and outs for 2025, let's also talk about what we're manifesting for 2025. You see, for me, it's all about stepping into being my boldest, softest self. I want to keep building my narrative, and I want to do it loudly, and I want to do it proudly, and I want to do it with a fucking espresso martini in my hand. I want 2025 to be the year of intentions. So let's talk intentions. 2025 is going to be the year of building boundaries, building relationships, and building a life that feels like it's finally mine. So I'm manifesting consistency with this podcast, with my poetry, and with people I choose to surround myself with. I am manifesting intentional connections, the kind where you feel seen, where you feel heard, and maybe you're just a little too obsessed with each other, but hey. So yes, a poetry collection that feels like a love letter to my younger self, consistency with the podcast because I know you guys deserve it, and a love story that doesn't feel like a battle. And I think most importantly, I am manifesting peace. Not the kind that comes from avoiding chaos, but the kind that comes from knowing who you are and what you want. Because this year, I am reclaiming my narrative. And listeners, it's going to be a bestseller. I kind of ate with that, huh? I'm so insufferable. Did you miss me? Okay, my mantra for the year: reclaim, rebuild, rejoice. I am reclaiming my time, my energy, and my worth. I am rebuilding the parts of myself I let other people break, and I am rejoicing in the fact that I'm here, and that I am thriving, and that I'm ready to make 2025 my best year yet. So there you have it, listeners. This episode was short, it was sweet, but it was our first episode of the year. I do have so much more planned for the pod. I had so much fun with this first half of it. All the guests that I brought on, the content that I brought on. I know that I got a little distracted, but I am ready to dive back in, full stop. I'm ready to bring on some more friends because I have such beautiful, amazing people in my life, and I want to continue holding space for our connections and for our stories and for our truth. And I have so much more I have planned to share with you. And like I said, 2025 is going to be pretty great. Honestly, I think if 2024 taught me anything, it's that the best stories come from the moments that you least expect. And if this episode is any indication, 2025 is going to be messy, it's going to be magical, and it's going to be full of moments that are worth writing about. I just want to thank you for being here, and thank you for listening, and thank you for letting me be a part of your story. Let's make some more magic in 2025. For now, though, it's time for me to wrap this up. If you're enjoying my podcast, don't forget to rate it 5 stars, because it not only lets me know that you enjoy listening, but it also helps my podcast get boosted so that I can reach a wider audience. Follow at Stirring the Plot Pod on all social media platforms to stay up to date and never miss an episode. If you'd like to connect with me, I am just at Dayna J Francois on all social media platforms. I will have everything linked in the show notes. And with that being said, if you liked listening, make sure that you subscribe to my podcast and tune in weekly, because I'm gay, I'm hot, and if there's one thing about me, I'm gonna stir the plot.